KK, who is the CTO and Head of Ecosystems for HCL Technologies. Over to you, KK.
Hello, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whichever part of the world you're joining us today virtually. Thank you for joining the Actian Hybrid Data Conference. It's a pleasure to have a chat with all of you and give you and share some perspective from my end. The key essence, and I think a lot of the speakers before me would have had a lot of conversations about cloud and how cloud and data and compute are becoming the center and the edge now, becoming the key of any business transformation. So I'm going to spend the next 10 odd minutes to just give you some perspective, some insights on what we are seeing as HCL overall and from an industry standpoint, and what we're seeing with our customers, and maybe give you a perspective on that. So again, when you really start to look at, we're still, I would say, in the COVID era. I think the world, we always thought we're going to go back to post-COVID, but looks like this seems to be a continuous continuum, at least with the current situation you're seeing in some countries where you're seeing this again flaring up back. But I think if you really go back to the start of 2020, we had certain strategies. Cloud was being seen as, okay, can I bring some better decision making? Can I use cloud to really build new applications? Can I use this to manage costs? And also look at some sustainability levers, because if I can use cloud to reduce carbon footprint, become more efficient, energy efficient, bring better governance, bring more resiliency. But we started to see a very fundamental shift happening during COVID, and I think cloud became the transformation lever at the speed at which things started to move. And cloud was the reason we are all able to communicate, connect, collaborate in a highly distributed, home becomes a new office, the hybrid working model, which is what primarily kept the tech industry running, even though with the current situations of what we had to deal during lockdown and unlockdown, and again lockdowns and all this new ways of living both as individuals in the community, in the society, and in the companies and in the business. So the way I looked at this whole piece is that as we continue to evolve, the conversations no more was, hey, why should I do cloud and what cloud? The conversation shift towards, okay, I need to re-architect and think cloud as a center of business strategy. There is no business strategy without cloud. So how do I start to look at cloud first? And make sure anything as a company or an enterprise, as a business, as a community, even we do today, is how do we weave cloud into this? How do I adopt cloud native thinking, cloud native process model, cloud native culture about thinking the whole new way of building applications and deploying infrastructure and managing data and looking at business processes? Start to shift towards consuming more industry cloud capabilities, which is currently being built by all the large cloud providers, and also a lot of the solutions being built on top, which are more industry aligned and ready to consume, and start to adopt the culture and then still be sustainable. Because I think the amount of wastage of both in the infrastructure and the application and in the data layer, which we have today, by creating those silos, I think we can make a better sustainable business model by really leveraging cloud. So I think the way we look at cloud is it's moving towards cloud first, cloud native, but a lot of the shift is towards how do I become more industry aligned? How do I start to look at how can I apply cloud to an industry? What can I do in manufacturing? What can I do in financial services, retail, telecommunications, media, entertainment, so and so. So that's the way we really start to look at cloud. And this is a research work which our enterprise technology office did for 2021. And if you really start to look at what's really happening in the top 12, which we identify for 2021, cloud is in the center. There isn't any one of those 12 activities which can happen. Whether we pick AI, you need massive hyperscale compute at both cloud and the edge, right? Real adoption of quantum. Quantum, the only way you'll access quantum systems is in a hybrid quantum classical model, and you'll connect them to the cloud, and then you start to leverage them. Autonomous vehicles, they're going to be significantly on the edge, but will be connected to the cloud. AR, VR, gaming, the whole evolution. 5G, correct? Every 5G conversation today is an edge conversation connected to the cloud. So hence cloud is becoming the center of every piece of the conversation, whether it's digital workforce or what we're really having collaboration and conversations today. So to reiterate this point, that cloud becomes a center of every business strategy and the technology strategy, and how do you bring them together is the key. If you really start to look at, I gave some of those examples, I'm seeing every large business has a clear cloud connected life cycle, whether we see with 5G and IoT in manufacturing, AI enabled inspection, supply chain resilience, adopting mixed reality, shifting from B2B to B2B2C and B2C. Same thing with energy and utilities. We're seeing this whole shift towards a connected ecosystem around there. Hospitality industry, financial services. Again, I don't think there is any financial services which today exist without being connected to the cloud, and maybe it's more regulated industry cloud, or we're seeing some emergence of financial services cloud in certain hyperscalers. But the focus around building a cloud strategy, which is weaving all those different parts of digital transformation, process modernization, application modernization, data management, infrastructure modernization, workplace modernization. So all those aspects have a cloud enabled aspect. You're seeing a big adoption in life sciences and healthcare. Both we saw in the last 18 months, especially on healthcare, the shift towards telehealth, remote consultation, virtual GPs, a big shift towards how can I use cloud connected healthcare wearables? How can I bring more supporting wellness systems, which can be both on the consumer side as well as leveraging a lot of the other capabilities from an enterprise standpoint. So big shift, adoption of AI and a lot of those capabilities in life sciences and healthcare, collaborative R&D and then things around that. So cloud is becoming a very key lever to every digital transformation conversation. Again, if you go back and look at the other perspective of what's happening in the investments, in the venture capital, in the growth private equity space, massive investment is happening both in the growth stage, late stage, seed stage, and in the growth PE side. Significant investments happening on IaaS platforms, cloud operating system, marketplace, migration and governance tool, a lot of investments around management monitoring, cloud security, access broker, cloud platforms, low code, no code, rapid acceleration. And we're seeing that pretty much this also gives us a very clear indicator of where investments are happening, which leads to where the future release of new products and capabilities are going to come out. So I think to give you a different cut to the whole play. So what we started to see was the following key considerations when we started to look at from a cloud. The first is, can I create a cloud adoption strategy which is aligned to industry, cloud or industry process and data, and how my strategy is around that, to how then I get my applications and other strategies mapped in, and then align it to the organization goals and unique customer conditions. So clearly, cloud becomes a center of every conversation. So whether you're doing a digital strategy to engage your consumer, whether you're doing digitalization of your processes, or whether talking about digitalizing your manufacturing, your OT systems, there is a cloud conversation, and cloud is becoming the core enabler. The second piece that you're seeing is this whole shift towards cloud first and or cloud native strategy of how do I make sure now I've thought about cloud business strategy, how do I now do cloud technology strategy by bringing cloud native thinking? Why do I want to do things if already exist? Or why should I reinvent things? Focus on consume, configure, and build then. So consume first, configure next, build only if you need to. So it's build for differentiation, not build for the sake of building. And then deploy using a cloud first strategy. The cloud first doesn't mean you go to one hyperscaler, or you can be multi-cloud, you can be on the edge, you'll still have a hybrid strategy. But the key is that thinking about, I want to start to look at deploying cloud first as an approach. And the third pillar is, how do I make sure the organization becomes more responsive and resilient and scalable? And hence cloud is about how do I really scale the power of the business and leverage the reach of the cloud, both across regions, across edges, across services, and across capabilities, and continue to execute on different choices. So from our HCL approach, what we've been really putting together a focus is we've got this whole framework and an offering, which we call it as HCL Cloud Smart. It's about bringing cloud to every part of HCL business and to our customers. We've got three segments. We've got IT and business services, where we are primarily a GSI and an MSP. We've got an engineering services, where we are an ESP and an OEM integrator. And then we have our own software products business, like we have as a majority stakeholder in Actian, which is also looking at moving towards an ISV modernization and cloudification and SaaSification journey. So Cloud Smart brings all the different parts of HCL and enable them to build their journey to cloud. So Cloud Smart is the HCL way of helping our customers and HCL practices and service lines and different parts of our business in the journey to cloud, with the whole thinking around cloud first, cloud native, bring an industry cloud focus, and change the culture, bring the culture of DevOps and SRE, correct? Bring the culture of how do I break silos, bring more collaboration, extended enterprise, edge innovation, and also keep sustainability at the core of every activity which you're doing. So the primary thrust around HCL Cloud Smart is how do I help modernize the digital core? How do I help reinvent customer experience? How do I help maximize business value? How do I continuously drive innovation, build the culture, and continue to become more sustainable and keep that thrust on, not from our perspective, but also from our customers and customers. So what we started to do is really start to apply this to some of our large customer examples. I just want to pick a few of them. So one is a pretty large soccer club. It's got billion plus fan base. And it's really about how do I leverage the power of hyperscale platform and mass data to be able to engage and connect with our fans across different channels, different platforms. But the underpinning piece around this whole is the cloud. So that scale, ability to engage your fans across 300 million in Asia, a few hundred million in Europe, across North America, across Africa, but the ability to connect all of them, ability to engage, deliver content, deliver hyper personalization, ability to integrate with local social content, and also be able to integrate with sponsors and business partners and bring all of them together, uses the power of cloud. It's been built on hyperscaler strategy, and it's one of the largest implementation of a fan engagement platform in the sports industry worldwide. The second is a completely different use case about how a large beverage company in the US really use cloud as the foundational strategy to make their business become agile and be able to rapidly expand and deploy at scale. So this is a customer where the whole landscape, including their core SAP systems, which was the center of which how their entire business processes were orchestrated across the globe, moved in towards a multi-cloud foundation, but their primary core was with one large hyperscaler, big focus on open source, open architecture, move SAP core there and start to leverage the power of data, AI, AutoML, TensorFlow, things around that, and plug in into that data platform which you are creating on the cloud and be able to accelerate the business. A third example is a completely different use case of a medical devices company who's looking at cloud from an automation, integrated IT operations, using cloud as a way to transform operations. So one of the things is that they've got a lot of technical debt. They've got a lot of current ways of doing systems, highly disparate. They're using cloud as a transformation lever to also modernize their infrastructure and their applications and manage their data sets and also look at creating new business processes. But they're taking a very different approach. Like the first one was a new greenfield, ground up, massive platform build. The second one was a strategy about bring all the core systems into a multi-cloud architecture and then leverage the power of data and AI. In this approach is saying, I'm going to migrate first and modernize later, but I want to leverage the benefits of economies of scale, ability to adopt standardized infrastructure and standardized data platforms and things which I don't need to reinvent all those pieces again and again. And that's the evolution which we are seeing. So 3 different use cases and 3 different examples. that really brings to the hypothesis which I had, is that the way I look at cloud in the future is, if you roll back 5 years from now, and this is a very interesting data point which has been quoted, there is no business strategy without a cloud strategy. It's becoming very imperative, and cloud is shifting away from a technology to becoming the foundation of business innovation by really enabling three things, which is, how do I create an ecosystem? It's not trying to do everything on my own. Create democratization, its ability to access to technology, capability, resources across the globe, and focus on differentiating yourself as a business on the cloud. This is, I'm going to pause and thank you for joining this event, and have a great conference in the day ahead. Thank you very much.